Hello, and welcome back to the Cayce Undercover live reading series, where we're basically editing and perusing the first book in the Cayce Undercover trilogy in real time. This is book one called Redacted, where Cayce was basically shunned by the media after reporting the wrong story, which indicted people too big to take down. So, while this book does look like mainstream fiction, a disgraced journalist chasing a story, a semi-conspiracy cozy series. I wouldn't call it cozy because it's longer than that and more in depth. But for those readers of cozy mysteries, this would probably be appealing. So, anyway, this book is another way of asking deeper questions about truth, narrative control, memory, and who gets to decide what's real. And let's see, we are on chapter 19. We left off after chapter 18, in which Simon, that's Casey's old flame from high school, begins doing what Simon does best, quietly dissecting the facts while the rest of the group compares notes. Piece by piece, they realize they are circling a very unsettling mystery. There's also something unspoken between Cayce and Simon, something very embarrassing that happened in high school that Cayce refuses to talk about in depth with Simon. So there is something very, unsettled between them. Now she's going to reveal it. Chapter 19. Here's the truth about Condom Gate. Simon thinks I ran from him because I was disgusted. All because when I saw him, gangly, nerdy, after doffing his too big rented tux, smelling like algae and pondweeds, I took one glance at his naked body and laughed. Well, chortled, actually, loudly. He thought I was repulsed, that I was embarrassed to be there with him. And I let him believe it, because that meant I would have had to explain the truth, that I had never actually seen a pulsing, free-range, certified trouser eel in the flesh before, and that I was completely, well, shocked. I thought I was skinny dipping with my friend and nothing more. Here's the thing. I wasn't prepared, not for any of it. Sure, I'd caught a brief, horrifying glimpse of something foreign and unholy once, back when I was a kid during one of the infamous Bubba Bubba incidents, when my father came home after one of his long shifts, flopped onto the couch in his boxers, and, let's just say I caught sight of something moving under the fabric that should not have moved. That was a warning. A ghost story in real time, a nightmare I refused to revisit. Up until junior year of my high school, of ju- up until junior year of high school and my purportedly platonic prom pairing with Simon, it was an entirely isolated incident. I understood things academically in the same way I understood how to diagram a compound sentence. Yet seeing a naked man boy in real time, in motion, directed at me, I had no blueprint for that. Yes, I had read Simon's The Sensuous Woman, cover to cover, in fact. It was an eye-opener, a crash course in a world I wasn't at all fluent in. Reading it was like being handed a manual for flying a plane when you didn't even know how to start a car. And there were no pictures. I needed time, rereads, more hours to digest the newfound wisdom, preferably in a quiet, controlled environment like a bunker, far from human interaction. Not thrust into the moment, expected to perform when I didn't even know the name of what it was we were doing. So, yeah, I laughed loudly. Then I ran. I ran past the caves where couples claim their nighttime spaces, past whispering trees, past darkened corners where secrets lived, across the footbridge, across the gravel path, across the gangly moonlit grass of the Wallamalsink miniature golf course, soaked, barefoot, blind with horror. What would you have done? What would anyone? One moment everything was fine, and then the next he was pulling out a ream of rubbers. Seriously, they unfolded like an accordion, just kept going, one after another, an endless, horrifying parade of latex cascading downward like some deranged magician's hat trick. I didn't run because of him. I ran because I was terrified. My body went into full-blown fight or flight mode. No thinking, no planning, no logic, just panic. After was worse, because whatever I'd imagined, whatever nightmare scenarios my brain conjured in those first shaky minutes of escape, reality outdid them all. I knew, even before I made it home clutching my clothes, before the whispers, before I forced myself through the last year of high school with my head down and chewing my fingernails down to their quicks, that I would never come back from it. I could live with the ruination of my own life, perhaps. I was used to surviving that. I had also ruined Simon's, at least until he made an escape a few months later. I will never tell him this, of course, never give him the satisfaction, never, ever, ever. I digress. Because soon I would be running again. Not from Simon, not from old humiliations. This time I ran for my life. The cottage is too small for us. Simon's computer set up, replete with a laptop and three oversized monitors, clicks and hums on the kitchen table, throwing a blue glow into the room as he types away. Jenna perches on the arm of the couch, scrolling through her phone, tabulating, responding. Luke stands near the window, arms crossed, keeping silent watch on the street outside. We're waiting for something to happen. Maybe it's paranoia. Maybe it's knowing that at any moment Mal might call to check in on the notebook or try to kidnap Jenna, or that Nell, unpredictable and impatient, might decide waiting for the book she wants to burn isn't in her best interest. Or maybe someone else will try and ram a car into me. The notebook, the real one, not the fake one we tried to give Mal, sits in a hidden spot, taunting me. It got us this far, but it's not enough. We need more than scraps, more than cryptic half-truths buried in margins. We need something solid. Simon, typing fast, doesn't look up when he speaks. He says, "Let's see what they buried." Just like that, the room sharpens into focus. Jenna slides off the couch, gazing at the screen over Simon's shoulder. Luke steps closer, pulled into the momentum, his gaze flicking from the door to the screen. As for me, I brace myself because I know from his tone that whatever Simon is about to find is going to change things. Simon's fingers move fast over the keyboard, eyes flicking across the monitors, absorbing data at a speed that makes my head feel like a tilt-a-whirl. Tilt-a-whirl. Jenna is leaning over the table, staring at survey maps, company logs, and engineering memos, flooding in faster than I can process. My knuckles brush the back of Simon's chair, and I latch on, my grip tightening. This is it. This is what we've been looking for. Luke hasn't said much since Simon started digging, but I am grateful for his presence. Steady, solid, ready for whatever happens next. Simon lets out a whistle. Well, either someone was really bad at covering their tracks, or they wanted someone smart enough to find them. I asked with a droll lilt to my voice, "Which one are you?" He offers a half smile while continuing to scroll. "The former, of course." Jenna, entertained, grins. Simon pulls up a redevelopment proposal for the mine, except something isn't right. The survey maps don't match the records from when the mine shut down. I frown, leaning in. Those entrances don't line up. Simon nods, his expression taut as he clicks between screens. That's because the mine wasn't just shut down, it was sealed before cave-in. A chill snakes over me. Sealed before, not abandoned, sealed before the cave-in means exits were cut off, escape routes erased. Like someone wanted to make sure that whatever was down there never got out. Jenna notices too. Why on earth would you kill all those men? Simon clicks again. More documents flood in. A reference to a digital memo surfaces dated a week before the mine accident. I'm going to take out the word digital because that was 1989 and internet wasn't around. The name of one of the addresses jumps out at me like a slap. I clamp my fingers around the back of Simon's chair, my other hand working furiously at my hair, twisting until the strands coil so tightly they snap. Cayce's father, Jenna exclaims. She shoots me a worried glance. The words sit there, heavy, unmovable. Simon keeps scrolling, flipping through old employee rosters, ledger payouts, engineering logs, until he finds what he's looking for, the memo. The memo reads, Memo transcript, Internal Crow Mining Corps, from Victor Harland, VP of Operations, to, that part's redacted, crossed out. Subject, Final Directive, Containment. The situation is compromised. Third breach confirmed. Sealing efforts must be completed. No exceptions. I swallow hard. Third breach confirmed. They weren't shutting down the mine. They were trapping something inside with the miners intentionally. Now I have to go back and change one word up above that whoever was down there never got out. They wanted to make sure whoever was down there, because now they're trapping something else along with the miners intentionally. Jenna reads over my shoulder. Cayce, what did your father have to do with this? I shake my head. I don't know. Luke pushes off the window. You said third breach. What was the first? Simon scrolls again. The pay records jump onto the screen. Names, payouts, the ones they'd found in the ledger had no names. One marked deceased, one marked missing, one marked classified. The last two names make my blood run cold. Jenna whispers, Oh, shucky wucks. Simon Grimm clicks on the names, the last living persons connected to the project. Victor Harland and Franklin Holloway. There's a third name that's well, here it is, he says, Thomas Gray. I inhale sharply. One is very much dead, or at least he appeared to be when I found that bullet hole through his back. Harland, dead. Wait, now I have to check and make sure that he really is dead at this point, or if he dies, if she finds out he dies later on. All right, I'm making a note to go back to that. The third guy, Thomas Gray, never heard of him. Silence. Simon frowns, his fingers flying over the keyboard. Simon, can you pull up a photo of Franklin Holloway? We never did see his face. Simon barely looks up. I'm going to say, Simon looks up at me. You didn't find one? I shake my head. No, it was buried. Geraldo Rivera couldn't have unearthed it. I'm going to change his line to be the great reporter. Didn't find one? I said it was buried. Geraldo Rivera himself couldn't have unearthed it. A few seconds pass. Simon types something, bypasses something else. A long pause, then a beep as a hidden file unlocks. Then there he is. The breath leaves my lungs. Him, I say as the image leaps out at me. The weight in my gut shifts with the certainty that we aren't just. I have to change that too. Sorry. That should be I exhale with a gasp. Him, I say as the image leaps out at me. The weight in my gut shifts with the certainty that we aren't just uncovering history anymore. We are in it. Confirmed. The very much dead Franklin Holloway was indeed the man who dropped off the notebook. The notebook's references to a third breach weren't theoretical. Someone else got in. Something was left down there. Not equipment or debris, something that wasn't supposed to see the light of day. The bell over Joe's diner door shrieks as I step inside. Conversations dip. A spatula slaps a burger onto the grill, hard. When my order hits the counter, it lands with a thud, the cook's eyes lingering a second too long. before sliding away. People are noticing what we've stirred up. They're watching, scrubbing records, closing ranks. If we wait, we lose our window. The only way to get answers is to see it ourselves. We can't trust anyone else to tell the truth. We still don't have the full picture. We're pushing too fast, too loud. We're running on caffeine, Joe's Diner, and Food Emporium takeout, and straight into something people have died to keep buried. Jenna crosses her arms. You think waiting around until someone knocks Cayce off is a better idea than going into the mine? I'm missing a line or two here. I have to go figure out what is missing. Jenna then says, Sorry, Cayce, the burgers were great. Simon ignores us, scrolling fast. Look, the first breach, the files are gone. The second, everything about it redacted. We don't know who went down there, and we don't know who made it back. He points at the only lead left, and I say, Before we do anything, we need to get into the old mining office. It's still there, right? I bet the hard records haven't been touched in decades. If this project was being covered up, it could be. That's where we pick up a trail. Luke folds his arms, his mouth forming a hard line. What if there's nothing there? Simon says, I think we should try learning everything we can before we go running headfirst into what could be an embarrassingly bad situation. I mean, do any of us even have equipment for this? He was referring to me in a roundabout way, of course. I do, says Luke, a tad too eager. Of course he does. Jenna glances at him with something that looks an awful lot like admiration. Fine, I say. We wait on the mine and start with the office, but we don't wait long. Luke glances back at the window, body tensing. Then we need to move. I nod while Jenna grabs her fringed Free People jacket. She pivots to exit like she's ready to kick down the mining office door herself. Hold on, adrenaline girl, I say, blocking the door with one arm. Are you hoping to find a crowbar in my driveway? Jenna shoots me a look of exasperation. Every second we wait, Cayce, is a second we use to not go in blind, I say, grabbing her arm. That place hasn't seen life in how many years? You want to go stumbling around without knowing what we're up against? Luke backs me up. She's right. We need lights, equipment, and a plan. Your job is the equipment, mine is the plan, I say. Simon continues typing, his eyes on the screen. It'll be a lot easier for you to commit a felony when it's dark outside. Jenna throws up her hands. Yes, I say, we wait until dark. The second the sun's down, we're moving. Simon's gaze lifts slightly. The words, the word lands strangely. For reasons I can't name, this alignment between us unsettles me more than if we'd argued. I guess I better throw a nod in there to show they're in alignment. And make it the movement, land straight. So now that reads, Simon's gaze lifts slightly and he nods, agreeing. The movement lands strangely for reason his movement lands strangely for reasons I can't name. This alignment unsettles me more than if we'd argue. What I don't see is the black SUV perched in a neighbor's driveway and sheltered by a cluster of pine trees, the driveway of a neighbor who is away for the season. Headlights off, watching, waiting. Thank you. That was chapter 19, and I will be right back with chapter 20. Bye now.